Hi everyone, I am here with a story. This is like a military story. It's called Bringing Smoke Home. Smoke is a donkey. Here's the picture of Colonel with him. I love donkeys. Marines never leave anyone behind, not even a donkey. So let's read it. Istanbul, May 4th, 2011. Can I put my glasses on real quick, guys? My eyes are getting blurry. Usually at nighttime they start to get blurry for some reason. I don't know why. Sorry about that. Istanbul, May 4th, 2011. I paced an alley in the middle of the city, fuming. I was a retired Marine, Corps Reserve Colonel. I had come almost 6,000 miles from Omaha on a mission that now looked hopeless. This isn't going to work, I thought. He's not coming home. The he in question, a donkey. A donkey whose life had intersected with mine 3 years earlier in Iraq. I had been recalled to active duty to serve as commandant at Camp Al-Taqaddum for the 1st Marine Logistics Group. My Marines took care of infrastructure there, roads, electricity, water, trash collection. One afternoon, my commanding general showed me a YouTube video of several Marines trying to capture a donkey that was roaming around the base. Someone had pulled footage from our security cameras and set it to music, Yakety Sack, the frantic theme song from the Benny Hill show. The video was hilarious. Next time there's a donkey on base, you ought to catch it, the general said, laughing. He was joking, but I couldn't help thinking how cool that would be. I loved animals. I had dogs growing up and couldn't pass an injured bird or rabbit without trying to nurse it back to health. My wife Kate and I taught our teenage son and daughter to care for God's creatures as God cared for us. If you ever see a donkey around, catch it, I told one of my sergeants. On a Sunday morning, several weeks later, a sound like an out-of-tune bugle jarred me awake. Eeyaw, eeyaw, eeyaw. Did I just hear what I thought I heard? I hopped out of bed and stepped outside. Sure enough, there tied to a eucalyptus tree stood a donkey. My sergeant had done it. It was a young Jack, grayish-brown and scrawny, with big ears. Cute fella. He looked like a living Eeyore, minus the ribbon on the tail. His most distinctive feature was the long black stripe running down his back, crossed by another stripe along his shoulders. It reminded me of a legend I'd heard as a boy, that donkeys are marked with a cross because their ancestors served our Lord. I never knew that. Did you guys? I didn't know about the cross on their back like that. I didn't know they had that mark. Oh, that's really cool. See, I learned something from this. Did you know that, Sherm? That they had mark on their back like that, a cross? Because their ancestors served the Lord. They carried the pregnant Mary to Bethlehem, took Mary and baby Jesus to Egypt to escape Herod, and carried Jesus into Jerusalem on Palm Sunday. The cross was a testament to the animal's loyal service. I walked closer, sized up the donkey. He peered back at me. There was no fear in his big brown eyes, only brightness and kindness. Eeyaw, eeyaw. It was as if he was saying, "Here I am." "Nice to meet you too," I said. The first order of business was finding some donkey-friendly food. The camp was on a barren desert plateau, no grass and very few plants. I went to our cafeteria. Workers gave me apples and some stale hot dog buns, and I found an old cooler full of his water. The donkey could live on apples and stale bread forever, though a young Iraqi merchant who ran a shop on base, made regular trips into town. He said he'd get alfalfa from a farmer. The next morning I got up to make my rounds of the camp as usual, but this time I brought the donkey with me. A Marine colonel walking a donkey on a rope. We must have been quite a sight. Before long, almost everyone on base knew about the colonel's donkey. One evening he snatched a lighted cigarette right out of the Marine's hand and gobbled it up, burning tobacco and all. We christened him Smoke. That's why they called him Smoke. He ate that cigarette. I wonder why they called him that. Soon Smoke was a star. People came by his corral to pet him, bring him snacks, take him for walks. Marine soldiers and sailors wrote and called home about him. While he couldn't talk like Balaam's donkey in the Old Testament, he was smart enough to open an office door and go inside to mooch candy. Someone even set him up with a Facebook page. I made one for my dog Dottie too. She had a Facebook page. Oh my. During a briefing, a few of my Marines put up a slide that had a Photoshop picture of me and a line of donkeys in flak jackets and helmets with the words, "Ready for battle." A new breed of warrior. Life's off the land, eludes captures for hours. Superb hearing. I laughed along with everyone else. Smoke was a real morale booster. Since pets were forbidden in a war zone, a Navy physician wrote a memo on Smoke's value as a therapy animal. I got him a camouflage shirt, size large, and had our tailor remove the collar and sleeves and stitch Smoke on the name tape. Smoke the donkey. Reporting for duty, sir. Smoke got fan mail, cards, drawings, and treats. A lieutenant colonel's wife made him a personalized blanket. Everyone loved Smoke. He was a loyal member of our team. I worried about what would happen to him when our deployment ended. Fortunately, our replacements from the 2nd Marine Logistics Group assured me that they would take over his care. Look, guys, at his little outfit there with the Marines. I returned home to Omaha in February 2009. It was time to focus on my civilian work, running the nonprofit group I had founded, Wounded Warriors Family Support, and I certainly had a lot of catching up to do with Kate and our kids. In August 2010, a month before I was due to retire from the military, I was in my basement plowing through 30 years worth of Marine Corps memorabilia. I thought about everyone I'd served with, from my active duty days as a helicopter pilot to my time in Iraq. What about my battle buddy, Smoke? I called the major who had taken over for me. He told me that when his group's deployment ended, they looked for someone to take Smoke, and a local sheik agreed. A sheik? While some farmers in Iraq still use donkeys, the animals are largely left to fend for themselves. I'd even read about live donkeys being fed to lions in the Baghdad Zoo. I couldn't let that happen to Smoke. I had to bring him home. To me, his status was as official as that of a bomb-sniffing dog. If military dogs were transported home, why not Smoke? Yeah, why didn't they ask one of the Marines to take him home? That's not fair. The major had contact info for the sheik. I fired off an email. It took weeks of effort. State Department professional even got involved before I heard from the sheik. He assured me that Smoke was fine, but he wanted $30,000 for him. I explained that Smoke had served the Marines loyally and earned his retirement. Finally, the sheik agreed to turn him over at no charge. The catch? I had to find someone in Iraq willing to round him up. Then I had to figure out the best transportation route. A new mission. I got to work. an American named Terry, who ran Operation Baghdad Pups, a program of SPCA International, had already agreed to coordinate Smoke's travel. She went regularly to Erbil in northern Iraq to pick up dogs and cats and reroute them with the U.S. veterans who'd befriended them. SPCA International had no experience with livestock, but got on board. Smoke was trucked to Erbil in mid-January 2011. Terry was going to take him to Istanbul, where he could catch a cargo flight to Europe. Simple enough, only it wasn't. Terry spent weeks making arrangements. She and Iraqi colleague left with Smoke on April 5th. I planned to meet them in New York a couple of weeks later, but almost immediately things went a wire. It took a full day to work through the border checkpoints into Turkey, even with the help of a U.S. Army major stationed there. Then Terry was told empathetically that no Iraqi animals had entered Turkey since the war started in 2003. It took another 2 weeks to overcome that diplomatic roadblock, aided by the Marine Corps and other U.S. Embassy staff, including the Deputy Chief of Mission, a petition drive by the SPCA International and worldwide press attention. Smoke arrived in Istanbul on April 19th, only to get tangled in more red tape. I flew to Turkey to help. Now here I was, pacing an alley in Istanbul, running out of patience, of hope. What was I thinking, trying to get a donkey from Iraq to the United States? Yet like a donkey, I was too stubborn to quit. I called a German woman who'd been trying to secure a transit permit for Smoke so he could pass through Germany. I poured my heart out, told her how he'd become a therapy animal at Camp Al-Takadum, how he'd helped military families connect during the war, how I couldn't abandon him because Marines leave no one behind. She listened, offering no assurances. But Smoke has his own Facebook page, I said, desperate. There was a pause. He does? She looked up the page and contacted the veterinarian at Frankfurt Airport, who was equally impressed by Smoke's celebrity. The vet gave permission for the donkey to travel through Germany, and Smoke made 2 new Facebook friends. Smoke landed in New York City on May 12th and was taken to the Animal Import Center in Newsboro, New York, 60 miles north. That's where I drove to meet him. I watched as the donkey was led out of the barn, almost in slow motion, his ears up, face forward. But wait, he was a little fatter and furrier than the Smoke I remembered. Was this the right donkey? I looked closer. He caught sight of me. His expression brightened, as if to say, "Hello, old friend." I recognized the intelligence and kindness in his eyes. From that Sunday morning in Iraq, I don't think I was the only one who sensed we were destined to meet again. "Welcome home, Smoke," I said, rubbing his furry head. My little donkey leaned into me. He was safe. He was loved. He would be well cared for. Mission accomplished. They wasn't going to let him through to the United States until they seen he had his own Facebook page. Then he was a celebrity, so they let him through and became his Facebook friend. Isn't that crazy? Oh my gosh.